It's Hugh with Ryan Lizza, the New Yorker. The country's biggest political story today concerns Christie. It's the story that Ryan Lizza has about Bridgegate and its origins in New Jersey politics over at thenewyorker.com. You can follow Ryan, of course, at Twitter, @Lizza. Ryan, last week, Thomas Friedman of the New York Times sat down with Hillary Clinton. And have you had a chance to read that interview yet?
I have, yeah.
Softball after softball, right?
It's not a... It wasn't the most hard-hitting interview. I agree with you there.
Yeah, and so my question is, Christie gets, it's a trip to the proctologist every time he goes near the media. Hillary goes out, sits down with the New York Times' Thomas Friedman, and even as Afghan women are voting, gets asked about, what did you do at state, and she has nothing to say. Is this just the way it's going to be for Republicans, that they're Christies, they're dynamic people, get the absolute finger white glove treatment, and Hillary is off limits to the press?
Now, you are not going to convince me that Hillary Clinton, who's been in politics for a really long time, has not had her fair share of critical media. These things go in waves, right? She's not really, she's not in elected office right now, and she's not running, so she's in this in between phase where she's getting pretty soft coverage. As soon as she steps into the race, the same thing that happened in 2008 is going to happen. The coverage will be incredibly aggressive, just as it was. Think back to her earliest days in the White House.
Let me ask you this, Ryan. Do you think if I gave you 15 minutes in the Google search engine that you could find a piece about Hillary Clinton from the last 20 years that is anywhere near as detailed as the one you've written about Christie?
Yes, I absolutely think. You want me to take you up on that?
Yeah, you can send it before showtime. Anytime you find it, because I don't think this kind of Hillary's rise story. This is fascinating because it is Christie's rise, and there's stuff.
Here's the thing about Hillary. She is set in stone. The people that don't like her, and they're never changing their mind. The people that love her. They're not going to change their mind about her. And it's really hard to find new information about her that changes people's opinions.
Well, but that's not the question. The question is, do people dig? That's what let me ask you. What's her accomplishment at state, Ryan Lizza? What did she get done at state?
I think that's a good question. I think her best case is that she came into the State Department during a period when the United States' reputation had suffered at the end of the Bush years, and she tried to revive that reputation. I think the second thing she would brag about is this sort of soft containment strategy in China, right? Opening up relations with some of China's neighbors and trying to hem China in a little bit in that area of the world, and this whole pivot that the Obama folks talk about a lot, and sort of thinking of Asia as the most important region of the world for the next 50 years. But I agree with you. This is not... we don't have any, a lot of previous secretaries of state are judged on some breakthrough diplomatically, right? Some kind of peace accord or treaty that happened on their watch. That didn't happen with her. I agree.